Hello students, welcome to RP Education Class App. Hope you all are doing good. So let's start with the today's topic. Today I will start our next unit after unit 10, that is unit 9, that is international business and MIS. So today I will start the basics of international marketing or international business. What is international marketing? International marketing refers to the trade of goods and services, technology, capital or knowledge across national borders and at a global or transactional levels. It involves cross-border transactions of goods and services between two or more countries. But why international marketing instead of domestic marketing? So at first we discuss about the various opportunities regarding international business or international marketing. First is progress of overseas market. That in case of international marketing, companies tap into the foreign market with the low value and high quality products than their domestic products. So there is a progress and opportunity in the foreign market. Next opportunity of international marketing is sales promotion. As foreign markets constitute a large share of total business of many firms that have cultivated market abroad, so it's a great opportunity to promote their business as a multinational company. Next opportunity is diversification. In the international market, cyclical factors as recession and such seasonal factors as climate affects the demand for most of the products. Due to these variables, there are sales fluctuations. So diversifying market, a company's risk is to consider foreign markets as a solution for variable demands. Next opportunity of international marketing is inflation. The best way to control inflation is to earn foreign exchange through exports. Imports can also be highly beneficial to a country because they constitute reserve capacity of the local economy. Also, without imports, there is no incentives for domestic firms to moderate their prices. Next is employment and placements. India has gained tremendously with the inflow of foreign direct investment, as a result of which the employment in the country has tremendously improved. So these are the main opportunities of stepping down into foreign markets of domestic company. To know more about difference between domestic and foreign market, kindly follow the RP education notes. Next is market orientation. The form and substance of company's response to global business opportunity depend greatly on management's assumption or beliefs, both conscious and unconscious, about the nature of the world. So the management of company see the world as their market in different ways, as ethnocentric. Here company personnel see only similarities in markets and assume the products and practices that succeed in the home country due to their demonstrated superiority be successful anywhere. Next is polycentric. The polycentric orientation is the just opposite of ethnocentric. The term polycentric describes management's often unconsciously belief or assumption that each country in which a company does business is unique. That is unique market strategy. Next is regiocentric. As name suggests, in a company with a regiocentric orientation, management views regions as unique and seeks to deepen integrated strategy, like a European company that focuses its attention on the European Unions as regiocentric. Next is geocentric. A company with a geocentric orientation views the entire world as a potential market and strives to develop integrated world market strategy. A company whose management has a regiocentric or geocentric orientation is sometimes known as a global company or multinational company. So, apart from various advantages of international marketing, there are also some challenges that a company faced during the exports their products in the foreign market. International marketing is not as easy as domestic marketing. International marketing environment poses a number of uncertainties and problems. As against national markets, international markets are more dynamic, uncertain and challenging. So here we discuss about different challenges faced during the international business. First, a disadvantage is tariff barrier. It indicates taxes and duties imposed on imports. Marketers of guest countries find it difficult to earn adequate profit while selling products in the host countries. Sometimes to prevent foreign products or to promote domestic products, strategically tariff policies are formulated that restricts international marketing activities. I will discuss more about tariff and quota in the next video. Next challenge is administrative policies. Bureaucratic rules or administrative procedures both in guest countries and host countries make international marketing harder. Some countries have too lengthy formalities that exporters and importers have to clear. Next challenge is political instability. Different political system, different economics and political instabilities are some of real challenges that international marketers have to face. Political atmosphere in different countries offer opportunities or pose challenges to international marketers. Next challenge is terrorism or racism. Terrorism is a global issue, a worldwide problem. People of world are living under constant fear of terrorist attacks anywhere in the world. To trade internationally is not economically risky, but there is the threat to life also. Racism also restricts international trade activities. Also, there are different drivers of globalization. You go through the topic on page number 10 of the notes. So, now we will discuss various theories of international trade. For the first theory is the theory of mercantilism. This theory attributes and measures the wealth of nation by the size of its accumulated treasures. Accumulated wealth is traditionally measured in terms of gold, as earlier gold and silver were considered the currency of international trade. Nations should accumulate financial wealth in the form of gold by encouraging exports and discouraging imports. There are also different limitations of this theory that under this theory, accumulation of wealth takes place at the cost of another trading partner. Therefore, international trade is treated as a win-loss game. Also, presently, gold represents only a minor proportion of national foreign exchange reserve. Next theory is the theory of absolute advantage. According to Adam Smith, who is regarded as the father of modern economics, countries should only produce goods that they have an absolute advantage in. A country is said to have an absolute advantage if the country can produce a good at a lower cost than another. Furthermore, this means that fewer resources are needed to provide the same amount of goods as compared to the other country. There are some assumptions for this theory like lack of mobility, for factor of production, trade barrier, trade balance. So these are the assumptions for the absolute advantage. Next theory of international trade is theory of comparative cost advantage. David Ricardo in the year of 1817 promoted the theory of comparative advantage, wherein a country benefits from international trade even if it is less efficient than other nations in the production of two commodities. Comparative advantage may be defined as the inability of a nation to produce a good more efficiently than other nations, but its ability to produce that goods more efficiently compared to the other goods. Suppose India produces computers and rice at a high cost while Japan produces both commodities at a low cost. It does not mean that Japan will specialize in both rice and computers and India will have nothing to export. If Japan can produce rice at a relatively lesser cost than computers, it will decide to specialize in the production and export of computers, and India, which has less comparative cost disadvantages in the production of rice than computers, will decide to specialize in the production of rice and export it to Japan in exchange of computers. Next theory of international marketing is factor endowment theory. According to the factor endowment theory, a country with a relatively cheaper cost of labor would export labor-intensive products. While a country where the labor is scarce and capital is relatively abundant would export capital-intensive goods. Next theory is Porter's diamond theory of national advantage. Michael Porter gave the diamond theory of national advantage, which states that the features of home country are crucial for the success of an organization in the international markets. It describes the factors that contribute to the success of organization in the global industries. These factors are called the determinants of national advantage. First determinant is factor of production. It includes the inputs necessary of producing goods and services. The basic factors to carry out a business include natural resources and labors, whereas advanced factors include infrastructure such as communication system. Next is demand conditions. The strong demand conditions in the home country persuade the domestic organization to constantly improve the product. If the demand of a product is more in the domestic market, then it can influence the demand of customers in the foreign market also. Next is related and supporting industries. Industries are involved in the country that are considered as the leader of a particular product. These industries help in innovation that helps organizations under them to produce at low cost. Next is organizational strategy, structure and rivalry. The strategy, structure and rivalry are very important for the success of an organization. The strategies help in setting new goals. The structure helps in managing operations. The rivalry helps in generating innovative ideas in organizations. So, these four determinants can also be called as the dimensions of the diamond model that help in contributing to the national advantage. So students, these are some theories of international trade. There are also some other theories like international production life cycle theory, modern theory. To know in details about those, just follow the RP education notes. So students, have you understood this topic? Now please give me the answers of this question by comment here or on WhatsApp study group. Question number 1 is, what are the assumptions of Haksar-Ohlin model? Option A is no obstruction to trade, commodities and factor are perfectly competitive, both countries operate at same level of efficiency and all of this. Question number 2 is, in respect of international business, a project is called turnkey project because the licensee agrees to construct an entire plant in his home country and hands over the key. The licensor starts the operation and hands over the key of the operating plant to the license. The licensor starts the operation and then invites the licensee and hands over the key to complete the remaining work. The licensor and the licensee jointly carry out the project and agree to share profit equally. Students, just try this question. I will explain the turnkey project in the next video. Question number 3 is, which theory suggests that comparative advantages arises from differences in national factor endowment? Option A is mercantilism, absolute advantage, Haksar-Ohlin, comparative advantage. Question number 4 is, which of the following is an objective of international business? Option A is large market share, more profit, more risk, optimum utilization of resources. Question number 5 is, the process of contracting out production of some parts or the entire final product to some other countries is known as offshoring, insourcing, outsourcing. Question number 6 is, in the process of globalization, in which stage of company exports to foreign countries through the dealers or distributors of the host country? Option A is first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage. Question number 7 is, which of the following is a modern theory of trade? Option A is Smith's theory of absolute cost advantage, Haksar-Ohlin theory, Ricardo's theory of comparative cost advantage, and Vernon's product life cycle theory. Students, this is all about the today's topic that I want to discuss through this video. If you have any doubt or queries, let me know by comment here or on WhatsApp group. RP Education is always with you. So stay tuned with us. See you in the next video. Thank you.